It's me, the little voice in your stomach. And as you can tell by my musical selection, I have impeccable taste. So I won't settle for anything but the most tasty snack. All natural Alberto beef jerky. It's lean beef, slow cooked, and seasoned to perfection. All natural and all delicious. So listen to the little voice in your stomach. Indulge my great taste and feed me some all natural Alberto beef jerky. Alberto beef jerky. You get out what you put in.
Refers to Alberto's all natural line of beef jerkies. Minimally processed, no artificial ingredients.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
And a good Thursday. Dave Rothenberg in for Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN app. July the 6th. 4 weeks from today. And maybe I'm the only one who gets like this, and probably so, and it is kind of lame, and I would admit that. But 4 weeks from today, on Thursday, I believe August the 3rd. So not a month from today. 4 weeks, in fact, from today. NFL preseason starts. And 2 months from tomorrow, September the 7th, the NFL regular season starts. So maybe just to mark today is 4 weeks out, and 2 months from tomorrow, we'll talk a little NFL. We'll get into the Jets a little bit. We'll get into the Giants a little bit. I don't know if you saw this story. Sam Darnold said, I don't know that I'm coming out. I mean, could you imagine, in typical Jets-like fashion, wouldn't it be? They go 1-15. They get the first pick of the draft. It's all on the table for them. And then Sam Darnold says, yeah, I'm good. And then it's Josh Rosen or Josh Allen, who are supposed to be very good, but Darnold seemingly is the prize is this coming draft. And, boy, you know, if you reminisce back to, 98, I guess it was, when Peyton Manning, or 97, I guess it was, after Peyton Manning's junior year, and he was coming out. And then all of a sudden, he said to Parcells, and the Manning contingent said to Parcells, we'd like you to guarantee that, you know, Peyton's going to be the number one pick in the draft. And Parcells said, I can't, and I don't know why he did this. Said, I can't do that. And Peyton said, you know what, I'm going to go back for another year, and instead of coming to the Jets, and you'd have to figure the Jets would have won a Super Bowl if Peyton. I mean, that's how franchises change or don't change. Like, those moments change the history of the franchise. Could you imagine if the Jets had landed Peyton Manning and moved forward with him for 15 years? They'd have won multiple Super Bowls. Parcells probably would have stayed, right? I mean, things would have been so very different. Same thing with the Knicks. If the Knicks would have landed Steph Curry instead of Jordan Hill, you'd probably look at this franchise very, very differently right now. So we'll get to the NFL. Jets, we know what they're going to be. Giants are interesting because the fans seem to be incredibly excited. And every, generic preview, not like Giants-specific from Giants beat reporters, but like NFL overview preview is maybe the Giants are a little bit overrated this coming season. Maybe they're not going to be what a lot of people seem to think they are, in fact, going to be. 866-SAY-ESPN, 866-729-3776. For me, and we'll get into baseball and the NBA as well. For me, if the Giants don't get to the postseason, now, look, Eli, and God forbid, but Eli gets hurt week 2, yeah, certainly you change your view and you change your perspective on the season. But if the Giants don't go to the postseason this coming year, yeah, I think you could say right now that would be kind of a disappointment. And that leads me to the Yankees. And that's where I want to kind of jump off today with the New York Yankees. Guys, Yankees were 21-9. They were rolling along. They were looking unbeatable. Their pitching was excellent. Offensively, it was, Judge. And even when Sanchez went down, it's like, it's a non-issue because they're going to be fine. And yesterday, it was funny. I was talking to one of the producers on the show, and the Yankees were down 5-0. And then they made it 5-2, and then they hit the 2-run homer and made it 5-4. And he goes, you know what's going to happen? I said, what? He said the Yankees will take the lead, and then they'll still lose. And I thought to myself, no, that won't happen. Because once the Yankees get the lead, they're better than Toronto. Toronto's not a very good team, and the Yankees will hand it to their bullpen, and they'll take it over. And the Yankees, sure enough, they take a 6-5 lead, big 2 RBI double from Didi. And they go into the 7th, and then Russell Martin hits a solo homer, and then we're tied at 6, which, honestly, tie game, 8th inning, especially at home, you would figure the Yankees are fine. The Yankees are in phenomenal shape because their bullpen is better and they're home, so they get that final at-bat. And then Betances comes in, and I heard people last night driving home, on my way from the station saying, it's time to deal Betances. Guys, stop it. You don't have a guy that can throw 99 miles an hour and mow down guys who's early on in his career and move on from that. But I will say that right now, sitting here on July the 6th, Betances has had a shaky run. And he has. And I think that's fair to say. You look at him yesterday, he's all over the place. He can't find the strike zone. He actually came out and said it's probably mechanics because he feels 100% fine. But Yankees cannot afford to lose games like this. These are the games they have to win. And after that road trip, where they had lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels, a Troutless Angels team, and then got swept in 4, if you remember, by Oakland, and they came back, and I said, guys, do not panic. They're going to be fine. Why? Because Chapman comes back, and it sets the rest of the bullpen in perfect order. And that's what I really believed. And the more you watch them now, the more you say this giant advantage, which I thought they had, which is Warren and Chapman and Betances and Shreve and Clippard. Well, Clippard has been hideous. Betances has been bad. And Chapman has not been great. So the advantage that you looked at that the Yankees had against everybody seemingly is not that same advantage that we thought it would be. And they lose 7-6 yesterday, much to the frustration of the Yankee fan. Now, the Red Sox lost, so it stays at 4. But come on, you can't call me and say, Dave, the Yankees are going to win this division. Like, even if you are wearing a pinstripe shirt as you walk around New York City right now, I do not believe that you can look at the Yankees and say they're going to win this division. In fact, look at it from the other side of things. And I know that I don't like them, and I'm sincerely being honest with the entire thing. Look at it on the other side of things. Look at the playoff standing right now. So the Yankees are half a game up on Kansas City, who, guys, was 7 games behind the Yankees 3 weeks ago. A game up on Tampa. A game up on Minnesota. They are 2.5 right now up on the Angels. But the Angels are only 5 games and loss behind the Yankees. So right now, when you look at it, this club is closer to being out of the playoffs than they are to winning the division. And the thing that's, I would have to think, so incredibly frustrating, and this is a team that has a plus 104 run differential, by the way. The thing that to me would be so frustrating is this came out of nowhere. 3 weeks ago, this was a team that was 4 games up in the division. They looked like they were a shoo-in to get to the postseason, and things were clicking on all cylinders. Now you look, you just want to hobble to the All-Star break. You have today off, and then you get 3 against the Brewers. And at this point, if you win 2 out of 3, you'd take that, you'd run for the hills. This is a team that is really in the midst of a major, major struggle. You say, well, why don't you talk about the Mets? Guys, there is nothing to discuss with the Mets. There really isn't. The only discussion you can have with the Mets is, what are they going to do with their guys who are free agents at the end of the year, and when do they move on from them? Now, I know that these players don't have the same value as Chapman and Miller did last year and Beltran did last year, but they have. You can't tell me that a team that's competing for a playoff spot wouldn't love to bring in someone like Jay Bruce. I'm going to give you, this is a 3,500 RBI guy. You don't want that on your team down the stretch? Neil Walker, if he comes back healthy, you don't want that on your team down the stretch? He's a very solid switch-hitting second baseman. Asdrubal Cabrera, very sure-handed shortstop, good hitter. So I'm not saying that they're going to get Gleyber Torres in return. I'm not saying they're going to get Clint Frazier in return. But the Mets have already said this season is over. I don't know why Mets fans keep looking at this year and saying, if we lose this game tomorrow, it's over. It's done. Forget it. Stop having this belief, right? I told you yesterday that my producer John sends out an email, and yesterday's email was Mets absolutely have to win. And Michael Kay said on his show yesterday, this is a must-win game for the Mets last night. Now, they're rained out. Is that a must-win? It's not a must-win at all. If they would have won last night, they wouldn't have had a chance. They don't have a chance. They're 11.5 games back. They're 10 games back in the wild card. The Mets are done. It's over. Forget about it. 4 weeks from today, you'll be watching the Cowboys and the Cardinals in the NFL preseason. Don't focus on the Mets. You want to sit back and have your kids around you and drink sodas and put your feet up on the couch and just to watch the Mets and baseball? Fine. You want to take your kids and go to a game and get tickets for, I'm sure, a great price now and sit out in the sun and watch Jose Reyes and Asdrubal Cabrera and Travis d'Arnaud and maybe Jacob deGrom? Fine. But don't sit here and tell me the Mets have any chance at getting anywhere near the postseason. Because if you believe that, you're either taunting me or you're an idiot. And I don't know which is which.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Ian Begleyâ is giving us the Knicks. All right? Now, these are not hard and fast. I don't even think there's any truth to these. These are just a couple of ways that the Knicks, in fact, could unload Carmelo Anthony. And, guys, let's be honest. That's what this has now become. How do we unload Carmelo Anthony? And for every 10 people out there, probably 8 say, yeah, under any circumstance, this has to be done. And then there's the 2 people that say, why wouldn't you build around Carmelo Anthony? To those people, they've tried to build around him. It has not worked. He's not getting younger. He's not getting better. It is time to move on. All right, here are some of the proposals, and you tell me what you think. Deal number 1. Rockets get Carmelo. Knicks get seemingly everyone else. Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza, Ryan Kelly, Sean Long, Tim Quarterman, Isaiah Taylor. So really, Gordon, Ariza, plus. So Ariza has 1 year. Gordon, I think, has 3 left at a very manageable number. I'm on board with that. Sign it. I'll drive to the airport. We're done. Deal number 2 involves the Knicks, the Rockets, and the Heat. Rockets get Carmelo. Knicks get Ariza. A whole list of guys that are really not names. Josh McRoberts. A second-round pick in 2022 from Miami. A second-round pick in 2022 from Houston. And the Heat get Ryan Anderson and a first-round pick in 2020 from Houston, which is protected in the lottery. So either of those are on the table according to, not that they're going to get done, but they would work according to our Ian Begleyâ. Scenario 2, Carmelo goes to the Cavs. Cavs get Carmelo. Knicks get Kevin Love. You wash your hands. You're done. My point is, if the Knicks want to take a step back and really rebuild, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I don't think, look, even if you believe that Carmelo makes the Cavaliers better than Kevin Love does, he doesn't make them that much better that they are now. They're not winning the NBA Finals. Like, for Cleveland to make a deal which brings them Melo, I think they need to keep Kevin Love and not move on from Kevin Love. So I don't really love that one. The next one is a 3-team deal. Cavs get Melo. Hawks are involved. They get Kevin Love. Knicks get Marco Bellinelli. And the Minnesota first-round pick in 2018, which is lottery protected. And then you have scenario 3, which I don't like and I wouldn't do, and that is buying Carmelo Anthony out from his deal. So you've got your scenarios. You've got a deal with the Rockets, which could be Melo for Gordon, Ariza. That, to me, that's the best deal to me. Now, the only reason that you might not sign on for that one is because the Knicks do get better from that. The Knicks, I mean, Eric Gordon's a nice player when healthy. Trevor Ariza's a nice player. And the thing I like about Ariza, if you could acquire him if you're the Knicks, is expiring contract, and he fits into teams. Like, if you're Cleveland and you're wrapping up the season and you're getting to the trade deadline, you wouldn't love to have a guy like Trevor Ariza who's long, who can shoot, who can defend, who can run, right? That I would do that. I would be fine with that. But the Knicks get better from that. And I guess the point is, you know what the truth is, guys? I don't know what the point is. I don't know what the Knicks are, in fact, trying to do. But if they want to be bad and they want to go after Michael Porter and they want to have a season that's, 18 wins and they wind up with the second or the first pick in the draft, I don't know that getting Eric Gordon and Trevor Ariza is really the right thing. Now, I think Ariza is easy to move, so maybe you go for Ariza the 2 second-round picks and the list of guys that are tremendously mediocre, or to the Cavs and you involve the Hawks and you get Bellinelli and a first-round pick, which is lottery protected next year, and then so you have a top 5 pick, and then you have, what are the Wolves going to be? They're not going to be great, so maybe they pick 15, 16, 17. So you get 2 picks in the top 17 and 1 in the top 5. Those would be the ones I would be inclined to do. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Because for me, to be honest, I think Gordon and Ariza with KP and Lee and Ntilikina, and God knows they may go out inside a legitimate point guard. I think that makes them too good to have the season that we're hoping that they have, which is lack of success, I would think, right? Harembe is on ESPN Radio. What's up, Harembe?
Thank you, sir. Hey, great job filling in, like always.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're too kind.
Yes, I just wanted to get your opinion. I'm going to switch topic a little bit. Do you think that LeBron should leave Cleveland, and what's your opinion on super teams in the NBA?
I don't like super teams at all. Do I think LeBron should leave Cleveland? Well, not now. He's pretty much still a shoo-in to go back to the NBA Finals. Do I think that I think when you're LeBron and you get to be 34, 35, you're not going to be able to give the same effort on a night-in, night-out basis. You're going to need to be the guy that is a second or third option on some of these teams. So I think that LeBron may kind of, and he's very smart and very aware of what's going on, may kind of just keep an eye on the rest of the NBA and pick a team that he fits into, that he can help to win, but doesn't have to do everything to help them get there.
And like the Lakers, I think it'll be perfect in the Lakers with Magic.
Well, Magic's not playing. Well, let's see. Let's see what Lonzo Ball turns out to be. Let's see if Paul George winds up there. Let's see if Russell Westbrook winds up there. Let's wait and see. Right? Let's see what what's the kid from Duke, Brandon Ingram, turns out to be. I look, the nice thing for LeBron, and thanks for the call, is that he doesn't need to make this decision now. LeBron can just go year by year. LeBron can play this year out. If they easily get to the finals, and God knows what they do at the deadline, and maybe they had Melo and they keep Love. Look, I don't know. Maybe LeBron decides, I'm going to give another year here. Or maybe at the end of next year he says it's time to move on. But if I were LeBron, because, money is not an issue. He doesn't need to sign this 5-year, $200 million deal that everyone else is signing. Go year by year. Sign a 1-year deal. Sign a 2-year deal, a 1-year deal, and a player option on top of it. Right? That's what he can do. And then if he wants to stay in Cleveland, he stays. And if he wants to go, he goes. LeBron should have all the power, and LeBron, in fact, will have all the power. Dwight in Jersey. Dwight, you're on ESPN Radio.
Trade that I would take is Eric Gordon and Ariza. Other than that, I would not give up Carmelo. Do not buy him out, because that's the only one of the few assets we have. We're limited in assets. We need players for Carmelo. Just don't give him away.
But Dwight, you say what are the assets we have? How much of an asset do you really think Carmelo Anthony is right now?
Well, whether or not how much he is, we have limited amount of assets. He is an asset. Am I correct?
I don't know. Is he? If you're talking about buying him out, then is he really an asset?
Then don't buy him out. Why would you buy out the only little asset that you have?
Because they are done with him. Because they don't want him here anymore. And I agree with you. I wouldn't buy him out either. But the point is that you say he's an asset. He can choose where he goes. He makes a lot of money. And I don't know that there's a lot of teams that are desperate to get a guy like Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, but just don't give him away for nothing. If you don't have any assets, hold on to him until you get a deal that's reasonable. Either young players.
He's not a young player.
Gordon.
I am not holding on to him. He cannot be on this team to start the season, Dwight. That to me, and thanks to the call, that's a big mistake. If you do that, and I appreciate the phone call, if you do that, you make a big mistake. It is done. It is over. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. Whether you like Melo, whether you hate Melo, they're not winning with him. They're not going anywhere with him. It is time to turn the page and look into the future of this organization.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
You guys are very intrigued by what the Knicks can potentially do with Melo. It's funny. People tweeting me and calling me saying, he's got more value than you think. Guys, he doesn't have any value. Or not much, because he makes too much money, and he can say no to anywhere. So a guy that gives you 2 places you could potentially deal him, who's not young, who a lot of people look at as, a selfish-esque player is not someone of tremendous value. And I've gotten a couple tweets on do this, dealing for this, dealing for that. How about, and this is King Takai, it says, Melo to Boston for Smart, Bradley, and Crowder. I mean, I would do that in a half of a second if I'm the Knicks. I'm going to get 3 young defensive players? And you know what is interesting about that? Because I had this mindset recently that I'm not trading Melo to Boston. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving them another piece that makes them better and puts them closer to a championship. I think in some ways I'd like that because at least it makes another team matter in the NBA. Because if you put Hayward, Melo, Isaiah Thomas, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and Jason Tatum on a team with, some of the secondary guys, that's a team that, I don't think they are championship caliber, but could they at least compete with Cleveland in a 7-game series? I think you could make the argument that they could. The problem is too many guys need the ball. Hayward, Melo, Isaiah Thomas. But it's an exciting thought. You know what I do not understand? And I wonder if the commissioner looks at this and says, guys, we have to figure out a way to stop this. So Gordon Hayward agrees in principle to a deal, writes a whole article on a platform. What's the name of that? What's the name of that? The Players Tribune, right? He writes a whole article on the Players Tribune. And, Boston doesn't have the money to sign him right now. Like, Boston has to do some housekeeping to have the money to be able to do that. What happens, God forbid, if they can't move on from some of these guys and they don't have the money? So all of free agency is now sent into a tailspin, and Hayward now becomes reavailable, and maybe guys that have agreed to deals based on thinking Hayward is signed and locked in with Boston. I mean, really, if that happens, I think it throws the entire NBA for a tailspin, not only for Boston, not only for Hayward, but for everybody else, because you don't know that the dominoes would have fallen this exact way if Hayward stayed with Utah or was still available right now. Deion Waiters, by the way, if you didn't hear, back to Miami. Good fit for him because he played well there second half of the season. They're a team that's getting better, and I like that. Pat Riley really is sensational, isn't he? Well, you can say what you want. You can say he snaked out on the Knicks and the facts in the middle of the night and all those things, but you can't argue with how good he is at putting a team together. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Pat, Long Island. Pat, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, how's it going, Dave? Longtime fan. Been listening to a few years now and everything, so I really enjoy your show.
Good. Appreciate it, Pat. What's on your mind today, buddy?
Cool. So I just wanted to talk about the Knicks and throw out a wild scenario to you.
Oh, boy.
I think that Melo should just go over to the Cavs this year, whatever way we can get him, see what he can do with that team. But hear me out. If LeBron can win another one in Cleveland, wouldn't it be the craziest thing ever for his legacy to just come over to the Knicks, come join Porzingis, and then just bring back, the championship to the Mecca?
He's not coming to the Knicks, Pat. It's not happening.
Maybe in a couple years, though.
Look, isn't that typical Knicks and Rangers? Let's bring in a 35-year-old former superstar.
Yeah, I guess. But it's LeBron, right? If he can still, attract some crazy players, you know what he would do to Porzingis' talent and game, and then
why?
A couple of the young guys.
Pat, other than you are desperately wanting that to happen, why would LeBron do that? Do you think LeBron wakes up in the morning saying, "I've got to transform the Knicks"? You think LeBron puts his head on the pillow at night and says, "Boy, the Mecca of basketball is Madison Square Garden. I need to go there"? LeBron had a chance to come here back in 2010, and he didn't do it. So why would he do it now?
No, he doesn't have to. I'm just saying, if I were LeBron and I just won another title, whether it's this year or next year, it'd be something really cool to see happen. To be like, wow, LeBron is that good. He even came over to this, crappy.
It'd be cool for who?
I mean, his legacy. It would just be like, wow.
You think that LeBron's legacy needs that?
No, but it's just another thing to put on top of it if he wanted to.
I think that here in the New York area, thanks to the call, Pat, we look at that and say, boy, how great would it be? Nobody cares. There may have been a time, guys. I'm not even sure that there was. There may have been a time where coming to New York and playing for the Knicks was something that was really special. It's not like that anymore. Think of all the free agents that don't even consider the Knicks. Remember the Zach Lowe report recently? came out and said that free agents and players around the league look at the Knicks as a last resort of where if I have to go there, I'll go there. Now, maybe it changes. Maybe moving on from Phil Jackson. Maybe moving on from Carmelo Anthony. Maybe attempting to be a relevant franchise again and run things normally. Maybe it slowly changes. But if you think that the LeBron Jameses of the world are going to be 35 years old and say, boy, I've won in Miami. I won in my home state of Ohio. I won with the Cavs. What else can I do to finish off my career? Oh, revamp the Knicks. Let me just finish that. That's not something that guys think about anymore. That's not a thought for him. It's a thought for you because you're a Knicks fan, but not for him. 866-say-ESPN. When was the last time you heard a player come out and say, I want to go to the Knicks? Like a player of any value. I want to play at the Garden. I want to go to New York. Even the guys they have trouble wanting to keep them here. Right? Kristaps Porzingis. They're concerned about that. So no. I do not think for a second. I thought there was a chance in 2010, and in retrospect, there probably wasn't. We were all excited. There's no way I'm falling for that again. And you know what? Do you even, and I know this is kind of a crazy thought because you look at him now and he's such a beast. Do you even want a 35 or 36-year-old LeBron James on your team in the tail end of his career? I don't know that that's something you ideally would like to have happen. Jimmy in New York. Jimmy, you're on ESPN Radio.
Dave, you're the best. Always love speaking to you nationally and in New York. How's everything going, sir?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. What's on your mind today, my man?
All good, but I know you're posing all these Knicks scenarios. And, Dave, in regards to Carmelo, it's just unbelievable they're in this situation. And like you said, he holds all the cards. He can still stay if he wants to. I mean, and then what happens? And Dave, I just can't give him that money to go away. It's too much money, and then you got to throw another X amount of percent on top of that.
I wouldn't do it either, Jimmy. I am not catering to Melo and saying, you want to leave, let us pay you, then you go anywhere you want, and it's exactly as you want. No, if you want to go, you accept a deal, we'll attempt to trade you to one of the places that you can go to, that you want to go to, but this is not the New York Knicks, and we run everything by Carmelo Anthony to make sure he's comfortable. If you want to go to Houston, we'll try to deal you to Houston. If you want to go to Cleveland, we'll try to deal you there. But we're not dealing you to get nothing in return.
Dave, I could not agree with you more. And I know obviously you're my New York guy, I'm a New York guy. I go, there's 1% of me that feels bad for Dolan. I understand the team's worth $3.7 billion, but he's put $500 million into this team over the years. And Dave, we've got nothing. We've won one playoff series. This is a joke. I mean, and I don't see how it's going to change.
But, Jimmy, don't you put some of the blame on Dolan?
Absolutely.
All right. So why? Look, there's a lot of things that you should feel upset about. Look, there's a lot of people that can't afford to know where their next meal is coming from. I don't think James Dolan needs your concern or empathy, Jimmy.
No, I know that, but it's just sad that the product has been so bad for so many years.
Well, that's true.
Like you said, dysfunctional from top to bottom. I mean, it just never seems to end. And like you said,
no. And Jimmy and I got to run it. Thanks for the call. I don't know why you would think it would. Like I'm sitting here and look, moving on from Phil Jackson, I believe was the right move. Moving Carmelo Anthony, I believe is the right thing to do. Getting a high-profile GM and a high-profile coach, I believe is the right thing to do. But do I ultimately think that this thing is going to change and in 2021 we're going to be talking about the Knicks and a playoff team and how good they are? No. No, and I'm saying it's an impossibility, but do I believe that that's the case? No. Do I think in 2020 we'll be talking about the Lakers as a playoff team? Yes. The T-Wolves as a playoff team? Yes. The 76ers as a playoff team? Yes. The Knicks as a playoff team? I have absolutely no idea. Because they've been to the playoffs once in the last 16 years. That's why.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
I have to apologize to the New York Knicks. And Knicks loyalty called me out, and he or she is correct. You said 1 playoff appearance since 2001. Dave, it's 3 playoff appearances since 2001. You're right. It's 1 round of playoff victory since 2001. Remember when they beat the Celtics a couple years ago, then lost to Indiana in Game 6? But yes, they have been to the playoffs 3 times, and they got swept by Boston, and I think won 1 game against, was it Miami? Remember when they dropped the confetti after they won Game 4 after trailing 3-0 in that series, which I still look back on and shake my head and laugh. What kind of a team drops confetti from the rafters after they win a Game 4 when they're trailing 3-0? 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. We'll run through the proposed trades that make sense via our Ian Begleyâ in a couple minutes as well. And I have an NFL question that I want to pose to you, and we'll do that at the start of the 2 o'clock Eastern hour. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Let's go to John. John wants to talk about LeBron and the Heat. What's up, John? You're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Rothenberg. So I want to give you a scenario which I think holds a lot of water, and it's the following. So being here in Miami, obviously that the big 3 have left, the star for Pat Riley has fallen. If you think about it, obviously LeBron James, D. Wade, Chris Bosh, they all left a little bit sour grapes.
Well, Chris Bosh was forced into retirement or leaving the team because of illness.
Right, but my point is that they weren't too happy when they exited the door. Not only that, if you think about it, the Heat have no first-round pick coming into the next year's draft. Their number 1 player is Hassan Whiteside in the 3-ball era. And so I think that it would make a lot of sense for Dolan to see if he could rekindle that marriage. Obviously, I think what's appealing here with the Knicks, although they have a lot of issues, they do have a centerpiece in Kristaps Porzingis, who in this new era of the 3-ball has a team that he can build around.
So is this a roundabout way of saying you would like Pat Riley to come back and lead the Knicks?
Because he's got a proven track record
But
of
it
success.
didn't end well, John.
Well, listen, obviously, because it didn't end well doesn't mean that it can't be rekindled again. I think it's worth a shot. If you're going to go ahead and give this guy Rosario for the Toronto Raptors potentially compensation to get him with no championship pedigree, which Pat Riley clearly has, I think it's a worthwhile phone call to make.
If you tell me,
Pat Riley and kick the tires.
John, thanks for the phone call. If you tell me that I can have Pat Riley to be president, GM, whatever, of this organization, I would do it quicker than you can snap your fingers. I mean, that's exactly what you need. Pat Riley is royalty in the NBA. But here's the question. He's 72 years old. Does he want to start another full rebuilding process that's going to take how long? I don't know. I don't know that that's something that Riley is interested in. Would I make the call? Would I be interested from the Knicks standpoint? 100%. I don't think it's very realistic. But, I've said this before. Riley is not the only guy. I think there's plenty of guys that the Knicks could bring in that would make sense. I really do. I don't. There's plenty of guys. I don't know that Mills and Hornacek are the duo that breeds confidence to the fan and or the other players in the NBA. Pat Riley does. I mean, you could say whatever you want about Riley, and I can't even imagine there's a lot of negative things other than he did leave the Knicks in the middle of the night, like the Colts left a couple of years ago. But Pat Riley demands respect. And Pat Riley is the kind of guy that we thought Phil Jackson would be, where he gets you in a room, he takes off the rings, he says, look at these, come here, we'll get more. Yeah, I love Riley. I'd do that in a second. Asador is on ESPN Radio. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
How's it going, Dave Rothenberg?
I am very well. What's on your mind?
Hi. I want to talk about, you probably may think I'm crazy talking about the New York Mets, but can you see Sandy Alderson trying to fire Terry Collins after, making the World Series 2 years ago, and now it's like the season is pretty much lost, and now it looks like they're going to be sellers instead of buyers. So do you think it's time to fire Terry Collins?
Do I think it's time to fire him? No.
Yes.
No, I would not. I don't blame anything of what's gone wrong this season on Terry Collins. So, no. Would I? No. Could I see your scenario where Alderson, who I don't think loves Terry Collins, says, you know what, it's time to flip the page and move on? Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
And I also got a quick question about the free agency. Now that, Gordon Hayward is off the free agency block, who do you think is going to be the next big move? Is it going to be Carmelo? Is it going to be some sort of free agent that we're not hearing of?
Well, I don't know who. I mean, I guess it'd have to be Melo, and thanks for the call, because I don't think there's anybody else that's a big name. I mean, Butler's gone, George is gone, Chris Paul is gone, Hayward's gone. So who else is there? I don't really think that exists. So I think Melo moving on is probably the next domino to fall. And Houston or Cleveland, wherever it is, for me, and I've said this a million times, I need it to be that Carmelo Anthony has laced him up for the final time with the New York Knicks. And I don't necessarily blame him, but this working relationship is done. Rothenberg in for Stephen A. 866-SAY-ESPN. ESPN Radio, ESPN app.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
I'm all-pro cornerback Richard Sherman, and when I'm not chasing receivers, I'm trying to keep up with my kids. That's why Alberto beef jerky is my favorite snack. Alberto is delicious, lean beef, slow-cooked and seasoned to perfection, all natural and all delicious. Alberto beef jerky is protein-packed, so I can keep up with my busy. Raiden, stop grabbing your sister's hair.
Alberto beef jerky. You get out what you put in.
Refers to Alberto's all-natural line of beef jerkies. Minimally processed, no artificial ingredients.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast. I'm Stephen A.
The Yankees, and they are just falling apart around us. Betances was brutal yesterday. They lose 7-6. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Blue Jays. The Yankees have not won a series in their last 7. And that includes Toronto, who's below 500. The Angels, twice, who are below 500. The Rangers, who I believe are below 500. The White Sox, who are one of the worst teams in baseball. They split with them 2-2 in a 4-game set. So things are not going well for the Yankees right now. The All-Star break will come at the perfect time, and I guess they'll attempt to get a little bit healthier. Mets are done. Mets are irrelevant. The only piece that is relevant for the Mets is, when do they bring up Ahmed Rosario? When do they bring up Dominic Smith? When do they trade? Who do they trade? Does Syndergaard come back? I would be inclined not to bring him back because there's really no reason to. See, the nice thing about what the Mets can actually do this year, and there's very little nice about what they can do, is they don't have to push starters for innings. You get to 125 for Zach Wheeler. Thank you very much. Your season is over. Let's move on. You get into September 10th for Jacob deGrom. You know what? Let's shut it down and let's move on. Steven Matz, same thing. So you don't have to have a year where you push these guys to 200, 220, and then you have these, what do we do? Do we shut them down? Do we keep them going? No. This is the year that you can shut them down, and you can shut them down early. And that's a nice advantage to have, although the way you got it is not exactly great. 866-SAY-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Ravi Rogier tweets in, at Rothenberg ESPN, why are you so eager for Melo to go? Why am I eager for Melo to go? Melo has been here for years. Melo has won 1 playoff series. Melo doesn't make this team better. Melo is not a team leader. Kristaps Porzingis does not love playing with Melo. I don't need him to be here and to add to the mediocrity. I don't mind being bad. I don't need to be bad and be old and be bad and have huge high-priced salaries on my team. I don't need that if I'm the Knicks. So if you're just joining us, Ian Begleyâ, ESPN.com, has a story. And I want to read you the potential trades that he has up there, and then I want to ask you a question about the NFL as well. All right, couple of proposals from Begley. Trade 1, Rockets get Melo. Knicks get Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza, and guys that are pretty much inconsequential. Deal 2. Rockets get Melo. Knicks get Ariza. 5 guys, inclusive of Josh McRoberts, who are not overly valuable, and 2 second-round picks in 2022. And Miami in this deal would get Ryan Anderson and a 2020 first-round pick, lottery protected, from Houston. So that's how he could wind up on Houston. Ian's scenarios to go to Cleveland: Cavs get Melo, Knicks get Love. I don't want that. I don't know why the Cavs would want that. I don't think that works really for anybody. Because for my money, Cleveland needs to get much better with another big-time player and not lose one of the big-time players they have. So that's almost a wash for Cleveland. And if you're the Knicks, do you now want to get locked into Kevin Love for years? I wouldn't want to do that. Cavs get Melo. Hawks get Love. Knicks get Bellinelli, who's a meaningless contract, and a first-round lottery-protected pick next year. I would do that. Scenario 3, the buyout. So for me, Gordon, Ariza, other mediocre names for Melo, or Bellinelli and the first-round pick. Those, to me, are the ones that make the most sense. 866-SAY-ESPN, 866-729-3776. And in 5 minutes, I'm going to ask you a fun and intriguing NFL question. Because 4 weeks from today, not a month, 4 weeks from today, preseason starts in the NFL. On a Thursday night, mind you. Usually it starts on that Sunday. Do you remember a couple years ago Sunday when the game was about to start and the turf broke or whatever happened and they couldn't play that game and people were so bothered? I don't know if you get this, but this is what happens to me. We'll go 3 weeks, we'll go 2 weeks. The day he'll come here, I'll be, okay, NFL starts today. I'll watch a series and be like, this is really awful. I just having football back is comforting, but it's really, that preseason is really awful. I'll watch it. I love the Giants. I can't get enough of them, but it's preseason football. It's not fun. Yeah, you get to watch some guys. You get to see what your first-round picks look like. All I do, my entire preseason repertoire is this. How do my young guys look? So like an Evan Engram. What does Evan Engram look like? What is Darian Thompson? Is he healthy? What does he look like? And don't get hurt. That's it. That's all I care about. How do my young guys look and don't get hurt? Spike in Jersey. Spike, you're on ESPN Radio.
I want you to repeat after me, my friend. 17 and 65.
Don't force me into saying things I don't feel comfortable saying.
And Michael Porter. That's all I want to think about next year is Michael Porter. If you're thinking about anything else as a Knicks fan, I think you have to have your head re-examined. You want to go after what could be a generational player from what I heard. Now, you know who coaches Michael Porter out at the Nathan Hale High School?
Brandon Roy.
That's right.
I mean, did you think you were going to slide one past the goalie there, Spike?
No. I never tried to do that. I want the rest of the country to hear how intelligent you are. I just think it was great. Brandon Roy he would have been a great player, but his knees just gave. The kid had everything going for him. He starred in the few years where he was at his peak before his injuries took him down. I'm sure you'd agree how good he was. He was on the rise to becoming a top 5 NBA point guard. But that be it as it may, look what he lucked into. He goes back into coaching after fighting off the injuries and being a star. I think he was an all-star, if I'm correct. And then he picks up this kid who I watched some tapes and films, and I saw the documentary on him, and the kid's got all the goods there.
There's a documentary on Michael Porter?
Yeah.
Oh,
on the Nathan Hale High School's on Brandon Roy, actually, showing his re-entry into the game. And he suffered a little and coming down after being a star. And he tried to come back once, I remember, maybe twice. And he played pretty good in a playoff series. I'm trying to recollect.
Yeah, but he had an awful knee, and it was arthritic, and it was getting progressively worse. And he retired. I think he retired well before he was 30. And thanks for the call, as always, Spike. Yeah, well before he was 30. 866-ESPN. I'm fine with it. I don't have, a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of hosts say you never give away a season. I mean, all they've done is given away seasons. If I could have Michael Porter on the other side of a given away season, I would do it now. I'm not opposed to that. 17 and 65, it's fine. I could deal with that. What I can't deal is with the unknown. I can't deal with, are they going to have the right GM in place? Are they going to have the right coach in place? What is the plan? Now is driving me crazy. What are they going to do with Melo? Are they actually trying to win 40 games this year? Are they trying to lose 60 games this year? That drives me nuts. Once there's a plan in place and I can sign on and move forward, that I'm fine with. This uncertainty is what upsets me. What the Jets are doing, I'm fine with what the Jets are doing. Jets are going to be bad. You know it's going to be a stress-free season. You know you're going to watch ugly football. Maybe some of your young kids will, Jamal Adams, Robbie Anderson, maybe one of the quarterbacks will play decently well, and maybe you look and you say, look, we got a couple guys for the future that we like. Great. But I like what the Jets are doing because I understand, I know exactly what the Jets are doing. Knicks, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know that they know what they're doing. And that, to me, is what's kind of upsetting. Ryan in Jersey. Ryan, you're on ESPN. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, the thing I want to see out of the Knicks is this year's a wash anyway because Golden State pretty much kept their team together. So show's over for most of the NBA this year anyway.
But we knew that. You can't compare what the Knicks are trying to do and rebuild and change in comparison to what Golden State is. That's not apples to apples, my friend.
No, I'm saying so this year doesn't matter for the Knicks anyway. It doesn't matter for most of the NBA. So if you can get rid of Carmelo, which you have to do because he's not doing anything here. He's old. He's not a good fit for this team. You get rid of him. You keep Steve Mills. You keep Jeff Hornacek, and you let them go to work and see what they can do. Because you don't need to bring in a big name to sell the New York Knicks. If they make good moves and they start building a decent young core, free agents are going to come to New York because it's New York. You don't need.
I don't know that that's true anymore, Ryan. I don't know that that's true anymore. I think you do need a big name. I think you need your leader to be a big name. Because if you have Steve Mills, you don't know whether James Dolan's going to wake up one morning on the wrong side of the pillow and say, you know what, I'm done with Steve Mills. If you have a Pat Riley, if you had a someone of that ilk, of that level, I think it changes the entire canvas of what the Knicks look like.
But if you give him a year and he makes all good decisions, then maybe he becomes one of those big names. You don't always have to go out and get the big name. Sometimes you got to let somebody become a big name,
I understand what you're talking about, but I just think that this has been, and thanks for the call, Ryan, such a difficult run for so long that it's hard for me to buy into let Mills be the next big name and that whole thing will work. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. So here's my question. Like the NFL Network, they come out with their top 100 guys. Okay, so here's my question for you, and it doesn't involve the top 100 guys, but it's a question for you. If the entire NFL were available to draft, and it's a two-part question. So everyone in the NFL is available in this mock draft, which starts in 4 minutes. And age is an issue. Who's your number one pick? Age is an issue. So that means Brady's going to be 40. Do you want him for 2 years of greatness, or would you go with an Aaron Rodgers? Or do you go with an Andrew Luck? Or do you go with a Derek Carr? Right? So that's question one. What player, number one pick in the draft, do you go with? Age is an issue. Second question. Okay? You can't take a quarterback. Who's your pick? Age is an issue. Can't take a quarterback. Number two. So number one, who's your number one pick? Age is an issue. Anybody goes. Number two, you can't take a quarterback. Age is an issue. Who you going with? 866-ESPN, because we celebrate. We enjoy. We rejoice the fact that 4 weeks from today, that's right, 4 weeks from today, the NFL preseason starts. And 2 months from tomorrow, which if you do the math will be September the 7th, the NFL season gets underway in Foxborough. Patriots and Chiefs. Oh, can't you hear the NFL music? Can't you feel the chill in the air?
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
4 weeks from today, preseason starts. Cowboys and Cardinals. 2 months from tomorrow, the regular season starts. Fantasy football is going to gear up. I actually, this is so great. I had to send out an email about my fantasy football league on Monday. He said, so what? Because I had to send out an email saying, are you back? What dates work for you? This is the first step. I mean, we are now closing down the days, and unlike most of you, I would imagine, The summer for me is just an interference to get us to football season. I don't need 87 degrees and T-shirts. I need 50 degrees and football. And we are not far from getting it. 866-ESPN. So I posed the question, age is an issue. Any player on the board, who are you taking? That's number one. And then bonus question, age is an issue. Any player not quarterback on the board, who are you taking? So let's call it 1A and 1B. You can tweet me at Rothenberg ESPN or call me at 669-3776. Roy Rodriguez tweets, Andrew Luck or Derek Carr for the first one. Landon Collins might be my number one for your second question. I love Landon Collins, but I don't think you could take him. I would go with Luck, Carr, or I think I might go off the board, and I think this will surprise you, Jameis Winston. I said, Jameis Winston, he's 23. So, to take Aaron Rodgers, Rodgers is 33. That's 10 extra years. Even if Winston doesn't play for 12 years, I'm getting at a minimum 7 or 8 years of successful quarterbacking play you'd have to figure. In 7 years, Aaron Rodgers is going to be 40. In 7 years, Tom Brady's going to be almost collecting Social Security. So for me, I'd go Luck, Carr, Winston. The other question, non-quarterback, I think I'd go Von Miller or Khalil Mack, because Khalil Mack is young. Von Miller's not as young. Let me look. I'll tell you how old Khalil Mack is. I would guess he's probably 25. But all right, let me see. Khalil Mack is 26. Von Miller, on the other hand, is 28. Those 2 years matter. I'm just trying to think, is there anybody else? Is there a young stud cover corner? Patrick Peterson, but he's not that young, and I don't know that he's terrific, but I don't know that he's better than those other guys. I need someone to get to the quarterback. How about Aaron Donald? That's a good one, right? I just saw a stat on Pro Football Focus that if just like the way they rank these guys, Aaron Donald, as far as a run stuffer, is so much better than everybody else. And he's 26, and he just turned 26. I might take Aaron Donald. I think I'd go Winston and Donald. I feel comfortable with that, and I don't think anybody would have set those guys. Now, I get a tweet, Ref 6, how about Dak Prescott? Let me see Dak Prescott do it in an offense that doesn't have the best running game and offensive line. I like Dak Prescott. I don't think he's great yet. Actually, if this were me, I guess it is me, right? I would take Ezekiel Elliott over Dak Prescott with this question. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Dominic wants to comment. What's up, Dominic?
What's up? How's it going?
Good.
All right. So you kind of hit around where I was going with the Jameis Winston. I was thinking a little bit of Jameis Winston, but I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I like Kirk Cousins. He's still fairly young.
Cousins?
Yeah. I would say Kirk Cousins. He has a big upside, man. I'm trying to tell you. Don't sleep on my guy. I'm a Redskins fan.
Oh, see, that's why. Do you know Kirk Cousins is 28? So you're gonna take Kirk Cousins over Andrew Luck and Derek Carr?
But see, the thing about Kirk Cousins, he's a younger 28 because he's only started for 3 years. This is the third year starting. He played those years behind Robert Griffin where he was still developing. So he's still in a learning, still being able to learn stage. He can still develop more.
Look, I like Kirk Cousins, and I never really understood why everyone is so opposed to him, and they won't give him a long-term deal. But if I could take anybody in the NFL, I think I'd be laughed at, and I think you should be laughed at, Dominic, for going Kirk Cousins. Then thanks to the call, I can't go in that direction. Over Andrew Luck, over Derek Carr, over Jameis Winston, I would take Cam Newton over him. I would take Aaron Rodgers. Give me 5 Aaron Rodgers years over what Kirk Cousins could do over the next 10. Yeah, no, I would not. Chris Esposito tweets in, Russell Wilson, J.J. Watt. No. I can't do that. Russell Wilson's a really nice quarterback, but he's not at that level. At least not for me. And let's see, Russell Wilson he's 28. So I don't get the age advantage. I get the age advantage with Jameis Winston. He's 23 years old. I mean, you got to figure if Jameis Winston stays healthy, you're going to get another 10 years of quarterbacking from him in his prime. Because what do you think the prime of a quarterback is now? The prime of a quarterback is probably 32, right? I mean, think of the quarterbacks that have had incredible years at that age. Peyton, Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, Eli, Rivers, Roethlisberger. You know, you don't need to be young to be a successful quarterback. You can succeed well into your 30s. Not like the NBA where you're 34, 35, you start to slow. 34, 35, you can still be very good at the quarterback spot in the NFL. Nolan wants to comment. Nolan, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
So my thing is, I like Andrew Luck as a player, but are you going to be able to take him as your number one option when he's been injured 50% of the time?
But look at the team he plays on. The guy never, ever has any time to throw the ball. He's got a horrendous offensive line.
No, that is true. That is true. But I'm from Seattle, and I've watched Russell Wilson literally run for his life the last 3 years. So I don't know, man. If it was up to me, I'd definitely take Wilson over him. I like your I'd probably go Wilson and David Johnson.
David Johnson's interesting because he's real. He is dynamic. And thanks for the call. He can do anything out of the backfield. You can line him up as a wideout. You know, like Le'Veon Bell can catch a million passes out of the backfield, but you can't line him up as a wideout. You can actually line David Johnson up as a wideout, and he can. I mean, you can put a cornerback on him, and he's deadly. He's excellent. How about this one that I think is interesting that was just tweeted in, and I'll give credit to Mike Billick. How about Marcus Mariota and Khalil Mack? Yeah, you know what? I think you hit a home run on that one also. Mariota has huge upside, and I'm going to tell you how old Mariota is right now. Is 23. Yeah, it's a good one.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Because the NFL starts 4 weeks from today, and 2 months from tomorrow is the official start of the season. That Thursday night, remember, they have like the whole blowout, and they have a concert, and Goodell's going to be in Foxborough, and that's going to be interesting, and then Brady will come out and throw for 360 yards and 4 touchdowns, and the Chiefs, in typical fashion, will keep it somewhat close, but lose the game like 31-26, right? Anyhow, we are, right now, on the verge of, we're getting there to the start of the NFL season. I figure, you know what, let's have a little bit of fun, and let's have the discussion of if you were taking a quarterback, any position that you wanted on the table, age is an issue, who do you go with? So Jameis Winston, Andrew Luck, Marcus Mariota, those are the guys, Ezekiel Elliott, right? But I think you have to take a quarterback. And then for the second question, the 1B of the 1A, is if you could take anybody not a quarterback, who would that be? And then we're getting Julio Jones, a left tackle. Do you take Taylor Lewan, right? Do you take Marcus Peters? Beckham is another guy. Beckham's only 24. Le'Veon Bell's only 25. My issue with taking a running back, though, is running back careers end quickly. And how, not that I'm saying Ezekiel Elliott or Le'Veon Bell or David Johnson are not elite players, but do you really need an elite running back to win right now? Case in point, New England, right? They just won with an open door policy of running backs like James White, LeGarrette Blount. Right? Then they move on from Blount. They bring in Rex Burkhead. It feels like they could just go round and round and round, just put a decent guy at running back and make it work. So I don't think I'd take a running back. I think Beckham is interesting. I think Von Miller. I think Khalil Mack are interesting. Quarterback, I think I'm going. I guess the question to me is who has the bigger upside between Mariota and Jameis Winston, unless you're a Carson Wentz guy, which I guess is possible. Jeff Stash tweets in, Stafford and Jalen Ramsey. No, I'm not taking Matt Stafford, no, absolutely not. Mike H. tweets in, Carson Wentz and Marcus Peters. All right, fair enough. But here's the thing for me with Wentz. Like, I've seen a lot more from Winston than I have from Wentz, and Winston's 23. I'm more sold on Mariota than I am Wentz. And Mariota's 23. Mike Rubelski, Luck, and Beckham. I don't think you've gone wrong there. 866-say-ESPN. Justin is on ESPN Radio. What's up, Justin?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. First of all, I agree with you on summertime just being a bridge. We're just trying to make it through.
Get me to the NFL, would you?
Exactly. I'm with you. 1A, Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
And 1B, as a former offensive lineman and a Packer fan, I'm a little biased, but I'm going to go with my man David Bakhtiari.
I don't think you're off the walls with that. I think a lot of people would say you start an offense with the offensive line. No, I don't think you're crazy with that at all. Thanks for the call, Justin. For me, Beckham, Taylor Lewan, what young star offensive lineman. Marcus Peters, such a good corner. I think I'm going to stay away from running back. I think I would. Tom in Brooklyn, you're on ESPN, Tom.
Jameis Winston and Khalil Mack sound like two great picks.
I think you hit a home run with those two, certainly.
Yeah. Going back to the Knicks, Carmelo's got 1 year on a player option. I'm guessing he's not going to pick up that player option. What about buying out Noah instead? And maybe getting some of those lower-level free agents, maybe Kelly Olynyk, maybe that kid from San Antonio, the small forward.
Jonathan Simmons?
Yeah. Maybe, even going lower than that, maybe like a KJ McDaniels, Reggie Bullock. All they need is hope.
You don't think he's going to pick up a player option at $26 million?
Do you think he could go exactly where he wants to go to contend for a title with maybe something similar? Maybe not all 27, but maybe 20 or so?
Melo has never been the kind of guy to give up money, though. He could have taken less than the max deal from the Knicks, and he took the max deal from the Knicks, and he included a no-trade clause in that as well.
Yeah. So, what do you think about buying out Noah?
What do you owe him? You owe him 3 years at $18 million each, so you owe him $54 million?
Correct.
I
know it's a lot. He's suspended. He's kind of hurt. I like the guy.
Oh, look, when he's healthy, he's fine. He's never healthy, and it's not getting better. So, how much do I have to spend to buy him out, I think is the question. No, I don't feel comfortable buying him out. I'm going to, because how much is he going to take? He's not going to get another deal. What do you think that he's going to wind up getting? And I appreciate the phone call, Tom. What do you think on the open market, if he's available, that Joakim Noah winds up getting? Not a lot. So I'm going to have to pay him. I have to pay him $45 million just to go away? I think I could get $45 million to go away, plus the $18 he already got. He can make $60 million for 1 year with the Knicks. That's like criminal, that kind of a deal. Daryl in Jersey. Daryl, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, what's up, Dave? Thanks for taking my call.
What's going on, Daryl? You're more than welcome.
I'm going Derek Carr. What you think about Antonio Brown as 1B?
I am perfectly comfortable. I think you did well. I think Derek Carr, terrific, young, team leader, huge upside, and I think the same for Antonio Brown. But the thing is, at what point, sometimes receivers just go south quickly, and at what point does that happen? But I would be more concerned about the running back portion of that than the receiver portion of that. So I have no issue with yours. I think you did well.
All right, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Yeah, Antonio Brown is 28. He'll be 29 Monday. So we'll have to make sure to wish him a happy birthday on Monday, okay? 866-say-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Drew Ivanlo says Derek Carr and Leonard Williams. Mally Mile, Aaron Rodgers, Antonio Brown. But you're taking Rodgers, it's going to be 33. I can't give up that kind of time. I can't take a guy that's 33, even though if I could take any quarterback in the league, I would take Aaron Rodgers. But with age as an issue, I can't take him. Now, if you want to play the game, you have the first-round pick, anybody goes. Where do you go? Then I go Rodgers. I know a lot of people go Brady, then I go Rodgers. Al in Mineola. Al, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you doing? I can't believe I'm a Cowboy fan, but I'm going to be non-biased here. As far as quarterback, I would definitely take either Luck or Derek Carr. And a non-QB, I can't believe he hasn't been mentioned. The best left tackle in the game is Tyron Smith.
Yeah, you know what? It's fair. He is really is elite.
And check his age out. The guy's been in the league like 7 seasons.
I know. Well, didn't he come in at
didn't
he come in at 20?
He was 19 years old when he got drafted.
Yeah, he's a baby. So Tyron Smith's he can't be older than 27 now, right?
I think he turns 27 this December. I think he turns 27.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
The guy's unbelievable, but Luck puts up those numbers with a terrible offensive line. Just imagine if he had a good offensive line.
Could you imagine if Andrew Luck...
That's another story. That GM up there is out of his mind. But
could you imagine if you had Andrew Luck on the Cowboys with the kind of numbers he would put up?
It's ridiculous. And besides Hilton, I mean, Moncrief was hurt all last year, but
he's got good receivers. Hilton is good, and Moncrief is good.
Fantasy, look out for Jack Doyle this year, man. Watch out.
All right, we will. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. I wanted the Giants to go after Jack Doyle this offseason. Tony is on ESPN Radio. What's up, Tone?
How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
I was thinking Aaron Rodgers, definitely number one, due to magician in the backfield.
Look, you're not going to get any argument about how good he is, but he's going to be 33 years old.
No, you're not. And in the age thing, I know, like, your screener was like, oh, that's a popular guy, and what do you think about the age? And I, honest to God, the last 5 years, I haven't seen any decline in his performance whatsoever.
No, not a little bit, but now he's getting to the point where you would start to see the decline. He's going to be 34 by the end of the season.
What quarterback would you put your money on? You're going to put Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers right now?
Yes. Not right now. But this is for now. This is for the extended future. How many more great years do you think I'm going to get from Aaron Rodgers?
At least 6.
No, you expect expect him to put up great years till he's 40.
Great years, 6 more years.
All right.
Absolutely. As long as he can stay healthy.
Okay. How many more big-time years do you expect Mariota, Luck, Winston to put up?
We don't know.
We don't. But how many do you expect? Andrew Luck, you'd have to figure, is going to give you at least 8, right?
Yeah, of course.
So you would rather have 6 unknowns from Rodgers than 8 pretty well-knowns from Luck?
I would. I really would. Because I think he's just that, much of a generational player.
I don't know if you've heard me before, Tony, but I have said on numerous occasions, much to the ire of a lot of people, that I think Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady. I think if I had the number one pick and age was not an issue, I would go Aaron Rodgers every day of the week. But Jameis Winston is 23. Marcus Mariota is 23. They're 10 years older than Aaron Rodgers. I think I have to take that into account.
Definitely true. I think Aaron Rodgers has proven himself over and over. I think. But
Tony, and I got to run. And thank you. You're missing the point. It's not that Aaron Rodgers has or hasn't proven himself. He has proven himself to be the most talented quarterback in the world, in my opinion. It's not about proving yourself. It's about how good you are and how long you last. And to have this attitude of, Rodgers will be good at 40. How many quarterbacks have been good at 40? Peyton Manning wasn't good at 40. Now, Peyton Manning may have won at 40, but it wasn't good. And for every Tom Brady, there's probably 50 guys who do not reach that level at that age.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
We are so excited about the start of the NFL season. We're having a little bit of fun. Obviously, Yankees are in, I don't know the trouble, but they certainly are falling all over themselves right now. They've lost 6 of their last 7 series, and the one that they didn't lose, they split with the White Sox. Mets are done. So we figured, why not have a little bit of fun today and open it up to some NFL questions. 4 weeks from today, the NFL preseason starts. 2 months from tomorrow, the regular season starts on September the 7th. So 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Age is an issue. Any players available, who are you taking number 1 right now? Age is an issue. Any player not a quarterback is available, who are you taking 1B right now? And if you want to throw it in for good measure, this 1 year you've got to win it, who are you taking? I'd go Rodgers this year. I would go, I think I'm going to go Luck. Overall, age is an issue. And I'm going to go, I want to say Beckham, but I don't know that I can because I worry about his kind of stability off the field. Taylor Lewan is a good one. Tyron Smith is a good one. I think I'll go Khalil Mack. I'm going to go Andrew Luck and Khalil Mack. 866-ESPN. That's where I'm going. My final answer. Warren in Jersey. Warren, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. What's up, Warren?
Hey. All right. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Andrew Luck. But I can't believe nobody's mentioned him. I got to say Jarvis Landry. What the guy can do with Ryan Tannehill, you give him an elite quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm not taking Jarvis. I love Jarvis Landry, and in fantasy with this PPR, he's great. But I would take Beckham over Landry. I would take Julio Jones over Landry. I'm not taking Landry as my number one non-quarterback in the NFL. No way.
But he could be another coming of Wes Welker. Look what Welker did with Brady.
Yeah, but was there ever a time that Wes Welker was a guy that you would have taken number one overall in the NFL?
At a point with the Patriots.
No,
sure.
No, you wouldn't have. You're telling me if anybody is available non-quarterback in a draft, there was a time that you would have taken Wes Welker?
Well, not quarterback, but a receiver, of course.
Warren, let me break it down. This is how I see it. You are a Dolphins fan, and you are spreading Dolphins propaganda on the show. Is that accurate?
No, I'm actually not a Dolphins fan.
Who's your team?
Me, I like the Giants.
All right. Well, I just think you're completely wrong. And thanks for the phone call. No, there is no way Jarvis Landry is my non-quarterback pick, and there's no way, as good as Wes Welker was, and I loved Wes Welker, that he was ever the best non-quarterback player in the NFL. No way. Dave in Pennsylvania. Dave, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. My number one pick in quarterback would be Mariota.
Okay.
Secondary would be Carr. And I might be prejudiced because I'm a Steeler fan, but to me, the best wide receiver and be my non-quarterback pick, Antonio Brown.
I don't think you're crazy at all. My only issue is that Antonio Brown is going to be 29 soon.
Yep. I understand he's a little bit older, but you just said it, and I agree with you totally. Got to stay away from he's a little more stable than some of the other wide receivers out there mentally.
Yeah, look, I love Beckham, and I think that if Beckham were, and thanks for the call, if Beckham were, and I guess it's not even fair to say he's not stable because he's never done anything that's horrible, but you worry about him. That's the thing for me with Beckham. He's never done anything that you look at and you're like, oh, my God. But it's all these little things that add up to make you feel, I think, somewhat uncomfortable about some of the stuff he does. Mike in Queens is on ESPN Radio. What's up, Mike?
How you doing?
Good.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, I would not take Beckham. I'm a Giants fan, and he drives me crazy. I think all the antics are he's a distraction in the locker room.
I don't know how much of a distraction he is, but I do think that he draws a lot of unnecessary attention to himself. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. In New York, like with the media, it just I hate guys that are always talking and drawing attention to themselves. They just want to win and just play to win. And I would take Donald over him in a heartbeat if we go back to that draft.
I think that's fine. Wait. Right now, if you were the Giants, you would go Donald over Beckham?
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants would. And thanks for the call, Mike. I don't think the Giants would go back to that draft and take Donald over Beckham. Look, for all of the negative things you can say about Odell Beckham Jr., and there are some, you can't deny that if you need a play, I don't think there's anybody that you'd rather go to than this guy. To take a 5-yard pass and take it for a touchdown, he's as good as everybody. What NFL topic will we tackle tomorrow? We'll tune in and find out. Rothenberg for Stephen A., ESPN Radio.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.